All right, everybody. Hey, this is Eric Tries Too Hard doing another mock draft. This time, I am in the 6th position. I wanted to go for the. Okay, for real. So I got the feedback to do the fantasy football calculator mock drafts, which I did for the majority of the offseason before ESPN opened back up. Competition's a little better. What's it called? The ADPs are more, I guess, accurate for better players. But the problem is not enough people use it. I did one and it worked out okay. I think there were just like 2 computers in it. But like, man, it was just they fired few and far between. They like never seemed to get reasonably filled. So unfortunately, I'm just gonna go back to the ESPN. I like that though. All right, so I'm talking to an infant as well. She promised this time she won't cry at all. She ruined like over 30 seconds of footage. So like, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna stick with ESPN because I think that's what the majority of people use anyway, or not. It's one of the big 3. It's what I use. It's the ADP that my opponents will be, sifting through. It's the same format, so I'm just gonna do that. As much as I like the draft board outline of Fantasy Football Calculator. All right, so just standard draft. Got pick 6, gonna pick in the middle, see what happens. I hate these middle picks. Teams always tend to turn out fine, but like, doesn't mean I enjoy it less. I kind of like having a long time to think about my pick and then being able to grab 2 and adjust very quickly in case the people in between me, if I'm at like the beginning or ending of a draft. I like that a lot. I hate having this like long time, 1 pick, long time, 1 pick, long time, 1 pick. But I mean, that's not strategy. That's just me being impatient. So Charles and Lacey and then Bell going. This is no surprise. Des Bryant 3rd. That's Marshawn Lynch. I'm assuming Adrian Peterson will go next. So here you go. Here's where we have our first crossroads. Arian Foster, love him when he plays. Hate having to have a heart attack every week to see if he's going to play in certain situations. Antonio Brown, best receiver, I think. So I'm actually gonna take Arian Foster here. You'll hear me say this a lot, but position scarcity in that I'm comfortable with the with getting another great wide receiver over Antonio Brown. And after Arian Foster, like the only reason I don't put him in the tier with those first 5 is because it's not ability, it's just the injury risk. All right, then LeSean McCoy, who went 8th in this draft, but the last draft I just did, he went like late 2nd round. Or maybe mid-2nd round. Matt Forte slipped to 10. Love Matt. I thought about taking Matt Forte, but man, Arian Foster is a beast. All right, so who else we got? There goes Gronk. At the end of the first round. That makes sense for him to go. Good. I'm glad I'm not going to have an opportunity. Oh, yes, no, I'm glad I'm not going to have an opportunity to draft him again. Because that always screws up how I want things to go. He always seems to fall to me. If he falls to me in a real draft, I'll be thrilled. But for the purposes of these... Should I finish my sentences on these? Or no, you got it? Good. There goes that run of receivers starting up. I really like Calvin Johnson this year. If he falls to me, I'll be pretty happy about that. And again, I'm pretty sure I'll be happy with whoever falls to me. Like A.J. Green appears to be the quote-unquote worst of that bunch, and I would still be thrilled to grab A.J. Green in the 2nd. I have no intention of taking quarterback, because it looks like they'll both probably fall to me. Hopefully they won't. Hopefully somebody will grab Andrew Luck, and I'll be able to get Calvin Johnson, assuming Des Bryant, Nelson, and Julio go before. Awesome. Sweet. There goes Aaron Rodgers. Fine. Rodgers or Luck, that's great. All right, what else we got? There goes Calvin Johnson. That's okay. That's okay. I'm happy with one of those three. So now I'm thrilled about my second pick. Somebody had to, in my opinion, quote unquote, mess up in order for me to have a good second round pick, picking 6th. Had I been picking 7th, I think you're almost guaranteed to grab a great wide receiver. Or if Gronk or a running back happens to slip to you, then even better. But I don't necessarily think that you take the quarterback in round 2. Here's Dez Bryant. Yeah, of course. So now it's between Nelson and Julio Jones. I would take either one. I like AJ Green too. I like there's Jeremy Hill. So I get my pick. Damn you. I guess Jordy Nelson. All right. We're loving our first 2 picks. Now we can sit back. If those middle rounds can be a little tricky with those picks, because you're like, you can wind up, if you're not careful, you can wind up with 2 really high upside, really risky plays. Like a Murray and a McCoy, where it could just be like you could just run away with the whole thing, or you could just fall flat. So having Arian Foster and Jordy Nelson makes me feel very, very comfortable going into the season. They always say you can't win you can't win your draft in your first 2, or what is it? You can't win your league in your first 2 rounds, but you can sure as hell lose it. Alright, so now continued string of wide receivers. Wow. So AJ Green went late. Cam Newton, what's happening here? Cam Newton, 24th. You joker. And then Russell Wilson, what the shit? Good, fine. Sure. Have fun with that. And so who's picking first? That's the other thing, and that's something else that you could argue, well, you know what, that person is kind of ruining the draft because you can't really tell who's actually going to get picked because they're not very good. Everybody's got a league taco, really. In everybody's league. None of us are, unless we're all talking about, like, real, like, expert leagues. Even, like, I'm in a league with a lot of great fantasy players. A couple of them are fantasy writers. A couple of them are, like, I don't know, just die-hard fantasy fans who've been playing forever and ever and ever. And the level of competition is really fierce. But, like, there's a dude or 2 in it who are terrible. And I was that person a few years ago. Alright, I like Emmanuel Sanders a lot. I always come to this position, it doesn't seem to matter where I'm drafting, where it's Lamar Miller or Emmanuel Sanders. I don't particularly like Alfred Morris or Kelvin Benjamin. I mean, Kelvin Benjamin's probably not warranted, but I also like Brandon Cooks a lot. I think I want to take Lamar Miller again. Yeah, I want to take Lamar Miller again. I like starting strong with 2 great running backs not because of any preconceived notion of like just general strategy of running backs over wide receivers, but because I know that coming up in the next 2 rounds, I'm probably poised to see 2 more wide receivers that are at a higher level of play, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, as opposed to finding another running back. So if I take, like, Cooks there, I like Cooks a lot, then or Emmanuel Sanders, then I'll probably end up with, I probably won't see another running back that I like better than the wide receivers until, round 6 or whatever. And I'd rather have, but I know that I'll prefer, it's just small incremental value. So, like, say to me, Lamar Miller, Emmanuel Sanders, and Brandon Cooks are all equal in my eyes. Let's just make it simple. It's 2. Brandon Cooks and Lamar Miller. Let's say they're completely equal in my eyes. Because there's a small amount of value that I'm going to get a couple picks down the road from taking a wide receiver over a running back, because the wide receiver will be a little bit better in round 6 or whatever than the running back will, then I'm going to take the running back earlier because I'm going to have to play 2 running backs. So whether I pick that running back in round 3 or round 6, I'm going to have to play them. So I would rather look towards the future and figure out, am I going to get a better wide receiver 3 than running back 2? Probably. So I'll take the better running back early on, and then grab wide receivers in the next few rounds, because I believe that's what's going to be available to me. The draft is actually all fantasy football and games in general, incremental value, just incremental value. That's why I don't get it when people like let themselves auto draft, or even if it's a live draft, just start like, I don't know, not spending nearly as much time on the back end of the draft, because it does matter greatly. There goes Frank Gore, Peyton Manning, and Jimmy Graham go at the beginning of the 4th. That's not bad for either. I could have taken, I could have taken Jimmy Graham. Oh, no, that's in the 3rd. If Jimmy Graham had fallen to me, I'd consider it greatly. Brandon Cooks is still there. He's not going to be there when I get it. Don't tease me. I hate when this happens. It's one pick before me, and the guy that I want is available, and he's not going to be available. And what would even... Oh, snap. All right. Brandon Cooks. Oh, I also like Matthews and Jonathan Stewart. Oh, sure. Brandon Cooks. All right. And see, I guarantee you Lamar Miller is getting taken between my pick 3 and my pick 4. Brandon Cooks did not. I never plan on that, but like that's another slight incremental reason to take Lamar Miller or even Emmanuel Sanders over Brandon Cooks, even if I like Brandon Cooks a little bit better. Ah, damn it. See, it's really hard. That's why a tiered system benefits you, but it's also like, it blows, because then you can't just go, nope, this guy's better than this guy. I'm taking this guy and I feel good about it. Playing well in any game is all about never feeling happy with yourself. And not feeling happy is the point of a game, right? Not having fun. Maybe for like a gambling addict, a thrill-seeking junkie. Well, like myself, no, I'm a safe thrill-seeking junkie. Like, I love getting super like excited about gambling money that I know I can totally lose. Like I won't go I won't go skydiving, but I'll totally like post something like really fucked up on somebody's Facebook page, and then the next day be like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Safe, yeah, a safe adrenaline junkie. I think that's also called a pussy. Wow, I'm on my 4th draft, and I have already lost interest in not in the drafting, but in the trying to talk football in between rounds. I'm just gonna talk to myself. All right, so who's getting taken? All right, so Latavius Murray, and there goes Drew Brees. I do love monitoring a lot when the quarterbacks and the tight ends go. I just did a draft where I didn't take a tight end or a quarterback as late as possible. Travis Kelce. And if you want to go back and watch that, I learned some cool stuff from that. It took me a while to explain it, but I definitely learned it. All right. I might like... is it 5? What quarterbacks are... I guess Joseph Randall, probably. I'd take a risk on Joseph Randall. Because right now, I mean, T.J. Yeldon, I'm not a huge fan of Jaguars' offense. I'll let them prove it. Ellington, Coleman are question marks for me. I don't like Deshaun Jackson or the Washington team. Giovanni Bernard and C.J. Spiller are possibilities, but I don't know. I liked Andre Johnson. But I mean, if Joseph Randall gets that starting position and does well, I really don't have I don't even think if he's available to me, unless it's super late, I'm not taking Darren McFadden. That's how little I believe. That's how much confidence I have that he is not going to take that job. And I guess I could have grabbed like Roethlisberger there, but nah, I can wait. So it was right there. It was between really Jarvis Landry and Joseph Randle, and I think that kind of came down to because I still need a flex spot, and I like Jarvis Landry in that spot. But I think I have a higher chance based on who's available and the perceptions of those players. There goes Roethlisberger. Nice pick, guy. I think that I'll have a much better chance of having Jarvis Landry come back to me than Joseph Randle. This kid loves her pacifiers. But I think that's because she's always on Molly. Is that why? Damn Reavers. Can someone go back into Firefly and just ADR the word Ravers over Reavers? Just every line. That'd be great. I would love that. I'd watch that every day. Still haven't seen Serenity. Haven't seen that movie. It was really. I watched the first half of it on Netflix after binging the season for the first time a couple of years back. But I think I just ran out of steam, and after watching the first 20 minutes, which was really cool, I just put it down. I was like, you know what? I'll come back to this later. And it's probably 3 years later now. I'll watch that later today. What do you think? Now I think we're going to go on a walk for a few miles and then eat a lot of ice cream. Because we are walking contradictions. Which is ironic, because neither of us really like that Green Day album. Have I lost fucking everybody? Sweet. Is it my pick yet? Shit. There's Crowell. His ADP is obviously not adjusted to the news. See if he comes back to me. The more I think I probably should have. I could have taken him over Joseph Randle. I don't know. I know I'm passing on a lot of guys who are question marks. And like Joseph Randle isn't a question mark. I had DeMarco Murray last year in my main league. And, yeah, thank you. Hold your applause. I had, hold your fuck yous and you lucky son of a bitches, you. And I grabbed Randle at some point. I think in the last week I even played them both in the championship, which I won barely, thanks to Emmanuel Sanders and Russell Wilson. All right, who's available? Isaiah Crowell. Am I an idiot? Did he target Landry already? Okay, yeah. Crowell it is. Wait, yeah. Wow, all right. That's pretty good. I don't think that's going to happen in a real draft, especially if I'm recalling correctly. I thought the news was that Terrence West is really dropped and Duke Johnson is. They're not expecting him to have a big impact, especially at the start of the year. I feel like I read that like this morning, and so now I'm like nervous that maybe I misunderstood or misread. But no, it's just the ADP hasn't been adjusted. He'll be gone a lot higher, for sure. That's the one problem about some of these ADPs, these sites, is that you can have people who don't really know what they're. You can have your league taco grab some players that you would have really wanted because they just happen to be at the top of the ADP chart when it comes time. Which I guess, I mean, having a couple of like, I don't know. Tack it's not too bad. Keeps things interesting. There goes Darren McFadden. Good. I don't want. All right. So who are we looking at next? I mean, at this point, I don't even really look at who's. I kind of know who I want at this point. Still need the chart though. I drafted last year. One of the drafts I was at was a live draft, and there was a dude who didn't even have notes, and he had a great team by the end. He's the guy I played in the Super Bowl at the end. He knew who was. I guess he might have had notes, but he didn't have like an ADP sheet. He knew every player that he wanted in his head. He even got some great like late round picks of he knew what he was doing. All right, Allen Robinson. I don't like the Jaguars offense, but he might be the best one in this position. I also really like Aguilar. Damn, I do like Aguilar. Robinson was really good. I like Martavis Bryant, but I don't think enough to grab him right there. Abdullah, Harriman. Okay, so in this row of people, there's going to be one person I like that I'm going to grab later. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab Allen Robinson because I think he did well last year, and I'm sure the Jaguars' offense is on an upswing. But I see him going earlier than I've seen him going earlier than the 7th, like 5th or 6th, even 5th sometimes. Which I don't want him in either of those spots. Like I've seen him going right after what's his name, Jarvis Landry, or right around Jarvis Landry. So I disagree with that. But grabbing him as an extra bench spot, because right now I've got just Crowell and Randall. We'll see who ends up playing the flex. I don't think I'm gonna have runs playing the flex. And everybody else I want in there is just kind of like Martavis Bryant. We'll see how he does. Trey Mason, I don't think I'm going to need him in the first couple of weeks when he'll be starting likely. Aguilar is someone I would like to grab for the long term, but I guess because I'm still trying to figure out my flex spot, I'd rather have someone who I'm confident I'll start right away rather than seeing how things shake up. There are plenty of players I can take later who I have faith in who we'll see how things shake up. There goes Abdullah and Bryant. Yeah. Oh, and Tom Brady. Okay. Oh, man. So I guess here was the point where, like, see, I keep pretending Tom Brady is just not available because if he wasn't suspended, he'd be going higher than I would be comfortable taking him anyway. But, like, because he's suspended, like, I don't know. If his suspension is the full 4 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this 7th round might have been a great place to take him. Yeah. The question is, would I have taken him over Crowell? Probably not. But over Allen Robinson, I probably would have taken Tom Brady there. All right, so Charles Johnson. I like Charles Johnson. I could grab Duke Johnson. Look up that running back or whatever. But I do like Charles Johnson a lot. What's our quarterback situation looking like? So here's where I'm going to just take Tony Romo. Had the last round we'd been certain that Tom Brady was having the suspension, and I had thought to look for him. I'd completely forgotten about that little monkey wrench in the draft of that floating Tom Brady question mark where he'll go all over the place. So like I always forget about him. So without that, had I thought to look for him and had he totally had the suspension, I probably would have grabbed him in place of Allen Robinson, and then I would have waited a round or 2 or 3 to grab Tannehill or Manning. However, that was no longer an option for me, and Tony Romo is the last quarterback you can reasonably take before you end up with this much lower tier of quarterbacks, in my opinion. So I grabbed him at the round that I thought I'd be able to get him at. I could have probably couldn't have hurt to take him around earlier. He very well could have been gone. I could have messed that up bad. All right, Duke Johnson's still available. Lock up that backfield. Terrence West runs away with it. Fuck. And by the time Zach Ertz is going, like he just did, I'm not in the market for tight ends until the very end. So that's something that I'll consider, but I'm not. I'll just take, my go-to is Jordan Cameron. So I'll just probably take Jordan Cameron in the next round, maybe the round after that, depending on who else is available. This team's okay. All right, Tony Romo, Arian Foster, Lamar Miller, Jordy Nelson, Brandon Cooks, question mark at tight end, Joseph Randall, the flex consideration, Joseph Randall, Isaiah Crowell, bench, Allen Robinson, Duke Johnson. Defense? Streaming. If you didn't make me take one, I wouldn't have one. I'm useless when it comes to the defense things as far as these mock drafts because I haven't even bothered I'm sure I'll have a printout with me of the matchups and I'll just see who's available and take who I think is against the worst offense. I know any defense that is such a good defense that you'd want them is going to be taken way earlier than I'd be willing to take them. I mean, last year I've had various defenses that were highly accredited, did pretty well. Didn't have the Eagles all those weeks that they were just like going crazy. Maybe it's my defensive settings in some of my leagues, but I was watching the Eagles just score so many points. But then again, I could only be thinking of one league. I could just be wrong because I never saw them in the fantasy pros like rankings. I never saw them in the top 12. I was like, all right, I guess I won't be taking them. It's like 30 points. All right. Well, that was a fluke. 22 points. All right, that was a fluke. 24 points. This time I'll just play them. Play the matchups from week to week and see what happens. There are a few people I noticed in each of my leagues who've been streaming defenses. There goes Jordan Cameron, son of a bitch. I'm still happy I got Juke Johnson. Duke Johnson. There's D'Angelo Williams. I could grab him just in case. Niall Davis, I don't be a dick and take. I'll take Terrence West. See some senior. And I don't really like Kendall Wright. I could take JJ. Alright, where are we looking for tight end? If you heard that, that was the baby. Jeez. I'll wait till the end. Screw that. I'll take Niall Davis, I think. Yeah. 3 more bench spots and a tight end spot. There it goes to Denard, or there's where Denard Robinson is going. I don't. I'm so not sure about where he's played so well for a little bit. He got injured. And I know, oh, they drafted TJ Yeldon. Never mind, that's fine. I was sitting there, I was like, why is he not higher? See, Steve Smith Sr. is someone I'd want to take, but man, I don't think that the numbers are going to be like, they're going to be good, but they're going to be like, I want to play him twice, and not for big games. I want to play him twice just for, like, high floor. But he'll probably just be sitting on the waiver wire at some point. Right? Maybe not. Latimer, I don't know if I like Latimer as much. I could go just take JJ. Am I saying the name wrong every single time? I'm saying it differently every time. Maybe I'm hitting it once out of every, like, 4. I need 2 bench spots and a tight end. Should I even bother looking at... Oh, and see, look at that. Ryan Tannehill is still available. So had I grabbed Tom Brady instead of Allen Robinson, then I am still just, like, chilling, waiting for... who knows what's going to happen with... you know, the time you actually do that, Tannehill gets sniped out right from under you. And it's also, Tannehill's so far down below on these ADPs that the combination of people who at this point is a bunch on auto draft, because that's how people tend to draft these things. Then again, I keep talking about these drafts and the validity of them as if everyone's drafting live. Like, my drafts are one of them. I only draft one time live, and the rest are all online, and there's plenty of people who end up using ADP by the end. So it might actually be more, there's David Johnson. I don't know, dude. Yeah, I think I'll take David Johnson. Got a couple of DJs, you know. Alfred Blue, because I have Aaron Foster. I should have reached for him. Sorry, that makes me look very unprofessional, and I did not reach for him earlier. God, I should have taken him like 2 rounds ago. I'm an idiot. Why did I take Niall Davis? I'm such a stupid idiot. Although, that's pretty fucking sweet. I think, right? Duke Johnson and, oh, people aren't paying attention by the end. Look at all these freaking auto-drafters. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say, I was like, for every risk I took grabbing a running back, I seem to have made up for it in spades with their backup. One bench spot left, and tight end. Man. Tight end is deep. You know what, at this point, though. Yeah. I'll say I'd take a kicker. I don't stream kickers. I did for a little bit and it worked out okay, but it was like, really, streaming kickers, dude? Just pick a kicker on a decent offense or Justin Tucker. Alright, so now we're taking tight ends. Who do we have available in the last possible round to draft tight ends? Larry Donnell, Owen Daniels, Austin Safarian-Jenkins, Kyle Rudolph, Heath Miller, Charles Clem, Tyler Eifert. Man, Tyler Eifert. I think I'm just going to take Peyton Manning's tight end in Gary Kubiak's offense in the third to last round. That would probably have still been there. I'm certain it'll still be there. But that, again, could be the auto draft thing. You know, I'm glad I did my quarterback and tight end thing on Fantasy Calculator or whatever. Final Fantasy Calculator. Because I feel like the quarterback availability and the tight end availability may be a little exaggerated on ESPN. But I still would have just had, like, probably Eifert or I don't know who else in my tight end spot. Like, that's, yeah. I'll always grab a kicker before a defense if I'm streaming. Yeah, a couple people in my leagues are now streaming. I don't know if it's, I don't know what gave them the idea to. I'm certain it was not me. No one was paying attention to me. Oh, I didn't grab, I guess instead of Dorial Green-Beckham, I could have grabbed Marvin Jones or Matt Jones. I don't really like Matt Jones. Or Cameron Artis-Payne. Probably Marvin Jones. That would have been fun. I like that pick. Yeah, so I guess the only things I'd redo, if I could, is instead of Allen Robinson, I grabbed Tom Brady, and then instead of what did I grab instead of Tony Romo? I'm sure somebody, whatever. Tony Romo, I probably, instead of that, probably reach for Albert Blue. I don't know. No, I'm sure there was someone better at the time that I could have taken. And then instead of Dorial Green-Beckham Jr., just take like Marvin Jones or somebody else. Grab a defense. Grab Packers. Sure. No, I don't. I didn't even look. Just take a defense. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I hope this was interesting, informational, and at the very least, there's Marvin Jones. At the very least, entertaining. All right. I will catch you guys later. See you.